The Community Resiliency Model seeks to help people understand that many of the common reactions we experience in reaction to highly stressful or traumatic events are not a weakness. Rather, it is how we are designed. When we experience distress, it can affect our body in a variety of ways. This is true of both children and adults. For example, we may experience digestive issues in response to a reminder of a past traumatic experience, but we may not know this is why we are experiencing these symptoms. This is not because we are weak, it is because we are elegantly human. Learning about our biology can help us to calm our nervous system so we can return to our resilient zone. Understanding our brain is key to understanding and managing our body's reaction to stress and trauma. Our brain changes in structure based on life experiences. This is called neuroplasticity. We each have millions of brain cells that communicate with each other. This communication results in all that we do, think, and feel. Our brain cells that fire together wire together. When we create new pathways between brain cells and use them repeatedly, the communication along the path becomes quicker. Likewise, if we stop engaging in less effective responses, those pathways will be weakened and eventually pruned away. This is the use it or lose it principle. This ability to rewire our brain gives us hope. If we can learn and use skills to enhance our resiliency, those responses will become automatic, and the old responses that interfere with our everyday experiences will disappear. For example, if I was in a particularly traumatic car accident in an intersection, my tendency may be to avoid all intersections. However, I can use the CREM skills when faced with a reminder of that trauma until the tendency to avoid those intersections gets weaker or even disappears, and the use of the CREM skills becomes my automatic response. The human brain is a highly complex system with quadrillions of these connections. Because CREM is designed to be universal, it explains the brain in very simple terminology and focuses on three key areas. The first part of the brain is the survival brain, or the brainstem, that carries out the survival functions of the fight, flight, freeze, and unconscious functions such as breathing and keeping our heart beating. The survival brain responds to sensations, not words. That is why saying calm down to someone who is panicking is not typically effective. Instead, the survival brain will respond to sensory information that signals that it is safe to calm down. The emotional brain or limbic system is the second part of the brain. This area is essential in the expression and mediation of emotions, memory, and risk assessment. The amygdala is housed in this part of the brain. The amygdala functions as the fire alarm of the brain. If there is a threat or a perceived threat, it sounds the alarm and signals the survival brain. The third part of the brain is the thinking brain, or the cortex. This part of the brain integrates input from all three parts and is responsible for thinking and language. It is essential to our beliefs, moral decisions, planning, and judgment. This is the area of the brain we use when talking about our problems. These three parts of the brain work together. When the amygdala is activated by a threat or a perceived threat, it functions as the fire alarm and sends a signal to the survival brain to put our body on high alert and go into survival mode if necessary. When this happens, our thinking brain essentially goes offline. We flip our lid. This is great for our survival when the threat is real, such as a bear is chasing you. However, this is not great for making sound, rational decisions. In order to soothe the survival brain and bring the thinking brain back online and to function well in our day-to-day life, we must override the survival response by paying attention to sensations so that we can differentiate between a real threat and perceived threat. The skills of CREM communicate safety to the nervous system so that the thinking brain can come back online. We have learned that resilient people have the capacity to heal after traumas. Many can experience transformative emotional and spiritual change following a trauma. Traumas can come in many shapes and sizes. The large T traumas include major events such as natural disasters, war, sexual assaults, child abuse, or acts of terrorism. Small t traumas are not small to the person who experiences them. They are deemed small t because family, friends, and larger society do not see these as significant. This may be something as a visit to the dentist or a dog bite. C traumas are cumulative traumas that include poverty, loss of culture, genocide, microaggressions of homophobia, and racism. These events create a cascade of physical and emotional reactions that may be experienced daily. Regardless of the category of trauma, if an event overwhelms a person's nervous system, their amygdala detects a threat and signals a survival brain, sending the thinking brain offline. The person can then lose the capacity to stabilize and regulate themselves. The wellness skills of CREM can be used by both children and adults to serve as an antidote to these biological responses and can help people learn to regulate their nervous system regardless of past experiences. If you are interested in learning more about the Community Resiliency Model or would like to host a CREM workshop for your organization, please contact SEAHEC.